look at just how many ifs does it take? If this, if that. How many ifs does it take for you to turn somebody into a national title contender? And while, Alabama only needs a couple, Georgia only needs a couple, it's always kind of informative to look at that and see who else maybe has a little bit of extra advantage compared to the rest of the field. Zach Calzada, had basically one awesome game last year, and it happened to be against Alabama. That's not really the way that's supposed to work. But, if they have a quarterback, and that has been, the Jimbo Fisher quarterback of choice for the last 7 years, has had an average total QBR ranking of 45th. They've just been very, by national title standards, they've been very subpar at the quarterback position, aside from last year's Alabama game. And it's all about that. If Max Johnson comes in and thrives, and if Jimbo's really committed to throwing downfield more, because they do kind of get conservative quite a bit, there's potential there. And if they have a quarterback, they really might have everything else. Like, so much turnover on the defensive line, you can't even pretend to worry about that because of all the candidates they have there. It all just comes down to whether they can make big plays when they need to, and that wasn't the case last year. One team I'm looking at that has a really interesting path if they can play really well at the very start is Utah. If they can beat Florida, if Cam Rising really is what we saw last 2 months of last season, their defense should be good, their offense will be efficient, they have a nice path for the playoffs. That doesn't mean they're going to win the playoffs, but they really could be a team that's just sitting there right in the top 5 or 6 for most of the season if they can get off to a fast start. Part of that depends on what Billy Napier has to offer in Florida. They might actually, if he gets Anthony Richardson going, then they're suddenly a top 5 or 10 team maybe too. So that's one of the more underrated week 1 games, I think. The winner of that one's going to be in a really interesting spot. Arkansas is another team that they have so much new on defense, we don't quite know what to expect from them. If Cincinnati starts 1-0, then suddenly 13-0 looks pretty good for them. So I think if there's going to be one of those the group of 5 darlings, they're the most likely. Maybe Houston, but I'd say Cincinnati's the most likely candidate if they get to 1-0. There are 4 teams in the playoff, and we just mentioned 3. I have no idea who the 4th team could be there. Clemson has so much offensive improvement to undergo. Texas A&M needs a quarterback. Notre Dame needs a quarterback. It's really kind of an interesting place.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.